What is going on, everybody? My name is the lovely Podolsky, and with me is the handsome Wee.
Tessa Baker.
And without further ado, let's dive right into this shenanigan with our sunscreen and quarantine, toilet paper, bat paper, cat paper, any type of kidnap, and let's all try to find our marbles here because we're all going batshit fucking lunatic crazy here, and we still got some nice gray skies that just look down on us, and then there's nice weather that looks at us and go, "What are you doing?" Anyway, returning guest is Christopher Weld. You may remember Christopher from last year, I believe, around sort of this time. I think it was more July. But anyway, we were talking to him about his feature film, The Wolverine. So, without further ado, here's Christopher. Welcome back on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're very welcome. So what have you been up to, Chris? Has the Wolverine been been kicking it? Because last I think we spoke, you were mentioning like some film festivals and a distribution deal or something, or I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, I believe I entered the luring into I forget what festival it was. The Motor City Horror Festival. And the Motor City Horror Film Festival or something like that. And we actually won Best Thriller Feature, which was, unexpected. And we were obviously very grateful for that. And we got a distribution deal, worldwide distribution in the United States. There's two different companies. Well, we actually played in Turkey, of all countries. I didn't go there to see it, but it played. And it's going to be released, as far as I know, in June on VOD. I don't know what platforms. I'm assuming Amazon Prime, maybe some other platforms. I'm not sure. But when you sell your film to be distributed, they can do whatever they want. They can shelve it. They can release it. They can change the title. They can change the poster. We have no control. And being that this is the COVID-19 pandemic, things are obviously very weird right now, even with online content. So I don't know if they're going to keep that date or not. I'll reach back out to them maybe sometime in May. It's kind of, there's a lot of unknowns right now, but it will be released. Thank God.
Yes, thank God for that. And congratulations on your victory, by the way. And like I said last time, still can't wait to see it when it does get released because it sounds like a really cool thing. And, it was shot in my home state, so why not, right? Gotta appreciate that homage.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that we actually had a screening of it in Massachusetts. There was a group that kind of met me by way of my cinematographer, Amanda McGrady, and they were actually interested in the women that were portrayed in the film and their involvement as crew members, which I thought was really cool. And so we showed it at, I think it's called the Sunshine. I don't know where. It's somewhere, Somerville. Showed it in Somerville, and that was a lot of fun. So seeing it on the big screen again was really cool. It's a one-night thing just for our film, and raise money for their organization. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it on VOD as well. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And so here we are where, everybody's suffering, or at least some people, I should say, because, some of us aren't really essential workers or whatever. So unfortunately, we can't still work and stuff like that. But anyway, so you made this new short film. And you can correct me here, but I find it to be like a horror comedy, politician type of. I guess, madness film. That might not even be the correct wording, but after watching it, it's one of those things where you definitely got to look at your partner, like I did with Tessa, and just start shaking your head while laughing because like this is way too funny, and you can't take it seriously. So.
Yeah, we were both like watching it, and we were just like shaking our heads and laughing. It's definitely one of those little short horror films that you just can't take seriously, but it's in a good way.
Yeah.
It kind of like takes you away from the stress of reality and stuff like that, and it just kind of makes you laugh because it's a ridiculous kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's like 5 minutes and 10 seconds, something around that neighborhood. Anyway, I know it's less than 6 minutes, but yeah, talk to us about your new skit that you did, Quarantine Sunscreen.
Yeah, someone wrote me this line, and I thought it represents the film perfectly. They said, "Quarantine sunscreen is pure stupidity, thickly wrapped in a layer of complete what the fuck." And I thought they were right. I thought that person got it perfect, and so I've been kind of telling people that's what it is. It's pure stupidity, thickly wrapped in a layer of complete what the fuck. I mean, that's what it is. It's obviously it's about this guy who pretty much lost it, and it kept my sanity because it gave me a purpose, gave me a reason to do something, and I'm just having a fun time. I just launched it. I premiered it yesterday, so it's only been like a day, but so far people are writing me saying that it's hilarious and whatever, and if I could just make people laugh for 5 to 6 minutes, I'm that's great. And so it really is very ridiculous, and I'm happy to say that it is, and it makes me feel good when people understand that and get it.
Well, for us, it was like 10 minutes because after we watched it the first time, we had to rewatch it again. So,
yeah, it's a head scratcher.
Oh yeah, but it's a good one.
Yeah, and and I wanted to also kind of poke fun of what's going on in the political arena. It's I go on Trump's Facebook page, and I'm not making fun of people that support Trump, but there are people that are super religious, and they're praising God and Trump and saying God made Trump our president and all this stuff, and even if my candidate won, Bernie Sanders, I wouldn't be saying that. Well, I'm not religious, but even if I were, like, some people are just so crazy mixing their religion and their worship of Trump and it's ludicrous. So I took some of that stuff that I was reading, and I made one of the characters in Quarantine Sunscreen to speak like that. It's almost verbatim. People were literally saying the same thing that one of the characters, the little army guy, was saying, how he's God given. Like that, people were thinking that.
You know what? Just for you saying that, this is gonna be so funny, but I think you'll get why I'm saying this too. So, Chris, can we safely maybe say, have you ever thought about now for a sequel, and maybe this one can just be called Quarantine Weisel? Oh man, I swear.
I might do another film that's kind of like this because I'm in my apartment. What else am I going to do? What else am I going to really shoot? I can't go to a location, and I was thinking about maybe kind of bringing up the whole disinfecting your body. I mean, it's complete stupidity. I mean, and he's our president, and he's honestly thinking out loud that can't we just put those disinfectants in our body? Like that's like a 3-year-old. A 3-year-old might come up with something like that. But the president? I mean, seriously? He's supposed to be the smartest guy in the room. He's not. He's not. So,
And yet, but wait a minute. He never said that, or he was being sarcastic, or he was joking about it. He wanted to make sure that the news media was listening. Like, what does that mean? What do you mean if he wanted to make sure that the media was listening? Of course they're listening.
Yeah, he obviously. I mean, like there's video. I mean, he said it, and then people started to they would swallow these disinfectants, thinking, oh, the president. I mean, I don't know how stupid these people are, and I hope they're okay. But what the fuck are you thinking? Ingesting disinfectant. I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling, and to be honest, I really wanted to capture that kind of madness, that absolute craziness. So when the Army guy is speaking like that, you're not quite sure if he's believing it or not. I mean, some of these people, I can't believe that they the way that they write and praise the president. It's just incredible. And I'm like, is this satire? Like, I'm not quite sure. So, I kind of try to capture this nuttiness happening and just threw it in different ways in my short little film.
Yeah, exactly. It's like people would rather listen to what President Trump's advice is over, like, somebody who's from CDC or a doctor or something. It's like they somehow overnight made President Trump the expert in everything.
Yeah, I mean, because he comes off like he pretends that he's the smartest guy. I mean, there was one time when he was being asked, I don't know, whatever question, and he turns it on to him, and he's like, I've been working tirelessly. No one's been working harder than me. And he goes, oh, and maybe some of the doctors and Mike Pence. And then he starts kind of naming some other people that have worked really hard also, but he made it seem like he was the hardest worker up there. And if it was any other president, you might believe him, but it's him. If you're tweeting, you're not busy. Like you're the fucking president. You should maybe start, like, I don't know, doing something and stop praising yourself. And it's just ridiculous. And I just find it's okay to have one crazy person, but when people are following him and praising him like he's God-given and all this like divine intervention, led to him being our president, that fucking scares me. But it's also hilarious because it's funny. People honestly think that God chose him to be our president. They honestly think that, and it's beyond me.
Yeah. I mean, clearly these people also missed the conversation he did where he was talking about, well, for the old people that are dying and everything else, make sure you hold on until November so you can get your vote in for me. But then after that, you can die, and we're just going to remember you for your
patriotism.
Yeah, for your vote, basically. Yeah. Oh, my God.
He has a habit of saying... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go on.
He has the worst habit of saying all the wrong things at the most ridiculous times. Like the worst times that you could possibly say something wrong, he does it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he has diarrhea of the mouth. I just can't handle him. I can't. Anytime I hear him talking, I roll my eyes and I'm like, oh God, here we go. What's President Trump gonna say now? And then Paul,
I think you're right. He's got diarrhea of the mouth.
About the whole thing that you guys were just talking about the people injecting or drinking disinfectant the other day. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously? How fucking stupid do you have to be to listen to this fucking man? Like, if everybody who followed him actually listened to him there and drank the disinfectant, there would be a whole lot of people dead.
Well, it's like that cult thing, we get the cult people get together.
He is a cult leader.
Well, I think he is, but he could definitely get away with being one. Just get every Trumper together, have him have him fill each cup of tea, Hawaiian punch, whatever, with like rat poison or disinfectant,
Bleach.
and then bleach, and like all he would have to say is, "This is gonna cure you," and then just down it, and then then there goes the whole cult.
If you believe in me and you believe in our cause and blah blah blah, you'll drink this, and they'll do it.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy that people are paying attention to him and listening to him, and to bring it back to the film for a second, when the army guy is saying that he cares about the middle class, there are people out there that honestly are defending this president, and they're saying that he's for the middle class. Meanwhile, they just passed, I think it's over $4.5 trillion they gave to Wall Street. They weren't thinking, so we don't have universal health care, but because we can't afford it, and yet they give $4.5 trillion to Wall Street. And so when these people that I see online, they're saying, "Oh, he cares about the middle class," like, keep going. It's comical. It's fucking comical that these people I don't understand how they believe that when $4.5 trillion went to Wall Street for the stimulus, and instead of giving people help, it's just beyond me.
Because there's people out there that think he's the greatest fucking thing in the whole world, and they're so blind and oblivious that they don't see him for what he really is. And he's this,
he gave us $1,200. I mean, come on now.
So we should just be, be grateful and think he's the greatest fucking thing in the world because he gave us $1,200. We deserve a lot more than that. I mean,
and that's our money. It's tax dollars.
Yeah, exactly. He's basically giving us our freaking money that we, sweat and bleed for and everything, work our asses off for. He's basically giving it back to us. He's not some like fucking savior or anything like that. If anything, he's like the fucking Antichrist in disguise, walking around, waving his little stick of power.
Yeah.
And that's why he wants to get back in the office again so he can do it all over again.
Oh, what? So he can fuck up the country even more?
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Well, that's what's going on, and it's
I'm sorry.
scary.
I get going when people talk about Trump. And I have friends we both have friends that are Trump supporters, and we try not to talk about politics with them. But, it's just like, Trump doesn't care about anybody but himself and people he can make money with, like rich people. Other than that, he doesn't give a shit about the middle class. He doesn't give a shit about the poor class. He doesn't give a shit about anybody that's below him and by his standards. He doesn't give a shit. And anybody who says that he does has fucking rocks in their fucking head.
Well, look at what the latest news is. I don't know if Christopher heard about it, but this is the latest news now. Okay, you ready for this? This sounds like like what I was just talking about with the whole cult thing and everybody dropping dead because they're saying, all he would have to do is say, drink this if you want to be cured or whatever. Anyway, so the latest news now is President Trump does not want to extend the lockdown. So what he wants to do now is by the time the lockdown is lifted, which is next Thursday, and he wants to go to Arizona and other places to start rallies with thousands of supporters in a big group and go from there.
It's going to blow up in his fucking face.
So if this doesn't say, hey, I don't give a fuck that if you're infected or not. Come and help show your support. Let's get everybody infected. So then once you go home from the rally, you can just spread it even faster.
And then we'll go right back into fucking quarantine again. That.
Well, I mean, and those people that are going to get sick are, they're going to support him regardless. And so they do this right in front of our faces. When they did the first stimulus check, I didn't understand why the progressives didn't just join together and say, you know what, we're not going to vote for this bill, even though people need to be bailed out, meaning the middle class. but we should first take care of the middle class. Then we can worry about Wall Street. And they didn't do that. So a lot of people, even though we should blame Trump and the Republicans, the Democrats voted for this fucking thing. And so that's what's really scary. So, but the progressives who are now bitching about it, and I understand the pressure to vote for something because, you know, people need money and they needed help. But they should have said, no, we're not going to vote. Let's just take an extra couple days to talk this out. Let's just separate the two. Let's help middle class people first, and then we could worry about Wall Street. They could have made a major case for that, and I think they could have changed things, but you know they didn't. And so a lot of Democrats now are, you know, they're kind of talking both sides of their mouth, and yet, you know, they're the ones that gave Wall Street all this fucking money, but they blame the Republicans because it's good PR for them. And the Republicans are lying to their constituents saying that this is going to help them. And so then these people believe them, and then they get their support. So even if they went to Arizona and did a rally, and if people got sick, those same people would still support them. They're so brainwashed. And they know it. That's why they're going to do it. They don't give a shit.
Well, that's already kind of started to happen. We saw, I forget what state it was, but that one lady that tested positive went out and did a protest for the stay-at-home thing. So how many of those people did she just infect because she was stupid and didn't self-quarantine herself?
Yep.
This is why I hate politics. And this is why I think our government's a crock of shit.
Well, that's why when I first did the short film, it had really no politics involved, and I sent it to a friend of mine. I said, you know, we just were looking at it, just laughing. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to post it, whatever. But then I started. I mean, I've always been political, but then I was listening to Trump and going on his page, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just put in some, you know, poking fun at Trump, but in a way that's maybe not seen. It's easy to make fun of Trump, and a lot of people do it, but I wanted to do it.
You wanted to do it in a full way,
praising him, but it's clearly I'm not, you know, and it's ridiculous to hear that someone would say that he is for the middle class, but yet. So anyway, I decided to make, even though my film is completely ridiculous, I wanted to make fun of the you know, political scope, because it does affect us, and we're in quarantine because the government is telling us to stay in, which I agree with that, but it's a very weird time, and I just wish that the government was taking care of us, and they're not. So they tell us to all go home, don't make money, don't do this, don't do that, and then right in front of us they put all the money into Wall Street, and they lie to us through media to tell us, oh, it's for our benefit, and here's a few crumbs for you, you know. It's you know, you starve people.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, for people like us, to add on to what you're saying is, we still need to pay for our groceries. We still need to figure out how to pay for rent, our utilities, you know, and
the whole nine.
And some people still haven't received their stimulus or unemployment, or maybe they can't even get those at all because of whatever reason. But you know, there's that, and it's scary. And then you hear people are getting kicked out of their place all because they can't afford rent or anything.
They refuse to sleep with the landlord.
Yeah, because now that's a thing.
Well, I mean, I think that people are saying that obviously rent and mortgages should be frozen, and that could be tacked on at the end of the lease or the mortgage, whatever. But if there's states that don't, by law, make it where you don't have to pay for your rent and mortgage, the banks, the landlords, these people could actually tell their customers and say, you know what, I'm not going to be a dick, and you don't have to worry about your rent for the next three months. I'm going to tack that on. I'm going to extend your lease for 3 months. And so, and if this quarantine happens for 4 months, I'll just put that on another month. You know, people can choose not to be a dick. And it's a real test. They're acting as if like the government needs to make a law. Yeah, I understand the government should do that. But how about it's also the responsibility of these banks and these landlords. They could also take it upon themselves to say, I don't need the law. I could just help people. I can just freeze their fucking month, their rent for 3 months. I don't need the government to tell me to do something that I should just do as a human being. And they're not doing it. And it's like, oh, well, the government didn't tell me I had to do it, so pay me. Fuck you, pay me. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
For what? For what? What? I mean, like, really are like how rich? I mean, the people that own that are collecting rent, they're doing okay. They're fine. They can survive.
Yeah, you're right. But so let's look at your film a little bit more. So after this little chat with the army men and the what was it, the deer head on the wall, and
deer head and the little evil doll.
Let's get into the evil doll a little bit. So what was going on with her? Just like, I don't want to say too much, but like, what was the message behind that, I guess? Was there some sort of message behind her acting the way she was?
Yeah. I mean, so obviously everything's in his head, and his head is having a tug of war because he wants to procrastinate, but yet he really should be working on his website. But deep down inside, he knows that no one's going to buy his services. And so therefore, these toys are trying to grab his attention. And when you get to the part with the evil doll is basically him in a way, because she's saying how people on social media are driving her crazy, and how she just, because, most people are spending their time on Facebook or whatever, and you start reading these ridiculous memes or videos or, all this, you're inundated with all this crap. And I found myself, on Facebook more than I usually am, because, what the hell else am I going to fucking do? And I just thought, my God, like there's some of these people are driving me fucking crazy. Like they want me to, I don't know, partake in their vlog. And it's like, and I feel guilty. I'll click on, there's like 14 people watching. I'm like, okay, like I don't want to click off because I don't want to hurt their feelings, and I feel bad. So now I got to sit through an hour of them, making eggs or something, whatever the fuck it is, and it's like, so, basically she is representing his state of mind in relation to social media, and she just wants to get the fuck out, just like he does. But there's this inner struggle, obviously, because we're not allowed to go out, and if you do go out, you have to practice social distancing, you have to wear a mask, you have to do all these things, and so there's obviously, and even if you do go out, it's not like going out like it was before the quarantine. When I would go out, you'd spend a half a day outside, let's say, going to different places or whatever. Now it's like you're lucky to do it for an hour, at least here in Brooklyn, New York City. So there's a different kind of, mentality in terms of Manhattan, Brooklyn, New York City than it is, let's say, in Vermont. And so our outside time is, a lot shorter or whatever. And she just represents that.
Do you guys have a curfew?
No, we don't have a curfew. They were kind of thinking about it and talking about it. But I mean, today, I think they just talked about how for the first time ever, they're going to stop the New York, the transit, the subway. So from maybe from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. something, don't quote me, but it's between some time they're going to close down the subway to disinfect it, which they've never done. And so that will, without a doubt, I mean, that puts kind of like a curfew on New York City, but it's not a curfew. I mean, you can walk out whenever you want, but they're very conscious. The police are if you're not practicing social distancing, they'll come up to you and they'll say, hey, can you, they're very polite. And I've never had this happen to me because it's, just me usually when I'm walking outside. But there is a police presence there, and no one's really breaking the rules, but, they're making sure that people are practicing it. But yeah, I mean, New York, Times Square is empty. I mean, I've seen live video of people shooting at night, and there's these streets are bare. So it's it's a ghost town in a town that has never been a ghost town. You know, I mean, 24 hours a day, certain parts of the city is pumping. There's no sleep, and to see New York City like this is very weird. It's like a blackout. It's just a very weird time.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I mean, New York is just known for, you know, the state that never sleeps, really, because it's always doing something. And so, okay, well, that's very interesting, because I was wondering a little bit of what was going on with the creepy doll, but I think I was starting to understand a little bit by the time the second playthrough when I was watching, or was kind of piecing more and more together with it. And then, so the last thing I'm trying to figure out is, in which I think you might have answered it. So otherwise, maybe elaborate a little bit if possible. But near the end too, when we get to that ridiculous upbeat music with all the stuffies and stuff are like having a good time traveling. Now that would be your subconscious mind basically saying, like, this is what it used to be like traveling to places, as kind of like what you said, but now it's like, you know, now you can't really do that.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously saying to Freddy in the film that she wants to get the fuck out of here. The walls are closing in on her, and and he's saying, you know, obviously you can't go, and she breaks out, and there's this sense of euphoria and just complete, you know, it's a beautiful day. I made sure I amped up the colors, the saturation to, you know, it's just a gorgeous, you know, and I miss going outside or having the freedom to do that. And it's just, I just thought it'd be kind of funny to make it very upbeat and just, you know, hilarious to me, at least, to see these, yeah, you know, these toys having like a great time, like a music video type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, I also, you know, making this film, I mean, I think what I like about what I've done is that it's completely stupid, but the more you watch it, it actually, there's stuff going on. There's layers of shit going on. Like it's political. It's talking about the realities of the stressing out with social media and how everyone's on Facebook now and everyone is doing their thing, and it's great and it's bad at the same time. And so it kind of talks about, I think, real things in a very funny way, but it's, you know, it's kind of like an onion, you know, when you peel it, you're like, oh, there's actually something, there's layers to this. I mean, it still maintains its complete stupidity, and I'll never, you know, leave that, but there is actually somewhat intelligence, you know, mixed in the fray. And so that's why, you know, I had a lot of fun making it, and you know, I'm hoping that it's going to create some sort of conversation, and you know, and people can laugh and whatever. I mean, it's very weird, and I love weird shit. I mean, this is a weird time. It's a very weird time. So why not make something that's super weird?
I will definitely agree with you. It's definitely one of those horror shorts that's fun to like pick apart and peel back the layers. So it's very interesting in that respect, despite the ridiculous amount of stupidity. But like I said, it's in a good way.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, even there's a line in the film, I mean, it's a 6-minute film where it's like, I'm pretty much going to, like, read the whole script by the time this interview is done, but there's a line in the film where one of the characters says, if you believe in unicorns, things will become real, or something to that effect. And it's a fun, nonsensical line. It doesn't mean really anything, but it kind of does, because it goes back to the political stuff that we were talking about. If you believe in unicorns, then you'll believe that Trump is for the middle class. That's really what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that someone's going to watch my film and come up with that conclusion, or, maybe that's just for me because I did it. But if someone was asking, which, I'm asking myself, but we're just kind of talking about layers. Like there is stuff that I intentionally put in there that is meant to get noticed maybe the second or third time around. And then there's stuff in there that's, really for me, but, we are living in a time when we are sold complete bullshit, and you'll buy it if you believe in bullshit. So if you believe in unicorns, you'll buy this bullshit. And and then I do it in a way that's obviously it's ridiculous and it's stupid. But whatever. I think what makes fun movies fun is when there's actually something there that you can kind of discover, and you can maybe kind of piece together and be like, oh, wait a minute, like I didn't notice that the first time, and now, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Like, so there's symbolism obviously in there, and it's, whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, so I guess, Chris, is so when you were writing this, and I know you were mentioning before too, there was at the time no politics in it and stuff, but when you started to add the politics and then shooting wise, how long did this little short take you, and what do you use for equipment? Did you have like your own little camcorder? Did you use a phone?
So I used a DSLR, and I used a Nikon D7100 and a Rode microphone. And the beauty of this project, which I knew going into it, if I didn't like the dialogue, so when he's talking to the Army guy, it's all in his mind. And so he's not talking on camera. So I knew I can always change or extend that conversation because I didn't have to re-record it. I just had to do the sound, the voiceover. When he is talking to the evil doll, he's obviously speaking to it, vocally, because I didn't want the whole film to be just him thinking it. I wanted him to also, verbally have a conversation, because I felt I didn't want to dig from that well too long. I wanted to kind of change it up a little bit. So I knew going in that I could kind of change it. And as I was editing it on Final Cut Pro. And as I was editing it, I just thought, right now my film had no point. It was just completely nonsensical, just out there. And I thought, well, it's more of my style to actually have some sort of point, because I think that that's important, at least for me. Even if it's surrounded by, it being ridiculous, I wanted to have some sort of something point. And so obviously I couldn't stay too far away from Trump, because he's obviously in the news every day. And I thought, okay, let me just kind of poke fun at him and how ridiculous I think the administration is, and how two-faced they are. And so, I was able to change the dialogue that way, because it's not like the Army's guy's face is moving when he's talking or anything like that. So, I kind of went into it knowing. And I think, as a filmmaker, you have to kind of think about, okay, what's my box? My box is, I can't really leave my apartment. I can't have anyone really help me. My girlfriend's here, but she's working. She works every day, and so she can't really be involved. So I had to really kind of think, okay, what are my parameters, my box? And then I thought, okay, now that I know what my box is, how do I think outside of the box? And that's when I came up with, well, if I have him talking to a character that is just in his mind, that'll give me opportunities in editing if I don't like something, because the conversation was very different from the beginning to it is now. As any filmmaker knows, things can change dramatically. And so, but I wanted to go into production kind of quickly, because I wanted to shoot. I wanted to make something, and I wanted to have something that I can show. And writing a script is great, but for me, I needed to actually do a production. So I went into it and knowing that I can change things up in editing, and and I did. It probably took me about maybe like a month from A to Z, maybe like a month and a week or something like that, or I don't even know these days. Or I'm always confused what day it is. Maybe it took me more than that. I don't even know. But it's been fun.
Well, that's the most important thing. So I wish you had fun with it. and it's hilarious. I enjoyed it. Tessa enjoyed it. I mean, like I was telling a few people last night, I said, "Hey, if you want something to watch that is ridiculously stupid, funny, then you like stupidly funny in a good way. You need to check this out." So hopefully, you got a few more views out of it. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think people are looking for something that's a break, and I think also short films. Like when I know everyone's kind of getting into TikTok and all that other stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I like watching things that have something to it, and so I like watching short films on YouTube. It's fun for me. I like to also see what people are doing with in the time of the quarantine because your back is against the wall. Like real, I mean, you have to be so creative now because it's not like we can just go off and shoot a regular film. It's interesting to me to see what other artists are doing, and I do have to say that I see a lot of a certain humor that I think is that's good. Whatever. I just wanted to do something different. I mean, everyone's kind of going to like the toilet paper thing, and for me, I kind of didn't want to do that because I kind of felt like, well, that's I've seen that's a joke that I'm seeing a lot around, so I kind of want to do something else. But maybe for my next film, maybe I'll make fun of the toilet paper shortage or whatever. But it's just good. It's good to see people doing creative stuff, especially now, and to see how creative these people can be without a budget, with inside the quarantine. It's just interesting, I think, and so film is alive and well, and I'm just hoping that other people will be creative and to get out of their mindset of being depressed, because that's a real thing. And so I think, if people can be creative and do something to think positive or to leave their worries behind for a little bit, I think it did that for me when I was writing this.
Well, that's good to hear, man. And I know how we were talking a little bit too last night, where I was mentioning how, God, I can't wait for this lockdown to be lifted and the virus to be dealt with more so that we can go back to normal life, because I have like 2 short film ideas to do, and like I'm already trying to take a step into the whole safety precaution type of thing, because to get to the point where I'm gonna have to do it just to get it done, I definitely want everybody to be safe. How I can go about the safety of being outside with everybody, and that way find a place also where it's not very crowded per se, which I have some ideas already, but it's just a matter of getting people's I don't want to say permission, but like their availability, make sure they're down to do it, considering the risk, and which is like, be smart about it, keep our distance, clean everything basically, and just quickly film the scenes, and then basically just wipe everything down, pack it all up, and then call it a day. It's basically the way we look at it. But
yeah, no, I think that's smart, but I also think, and I agree with you 100%. It is scary moving forward with a shoot because of what's going on, and so now we've got, as filmmakers, we've got this, like everyone else, we've got this in the back of our head. And when you're planning for a shoot, I mean, it's one thing to think, oh, it might rain. It's a whole other thing to say, well, the government might tell you can't be outside, and it's tough. I mean, I was actually doing a web series called Good Question, which is actually a semi-political show where we take regular people and we ask them thought-provoking questions. And I did one series, and we have now, I think, 5 videos up. We have 6 more videos coming, and I was planning on shooting another series. And then all of a sudden this virus thing started to come up on the news, and people are talking, well, they might shut down like they did in China, and I'm thinking that'll never happen. But I was kind of moving forward in terms of trying to, and we're just shooting it, we shoot this in a studio, I was kind of planning on my plan of attack basically, and I was starting to look at studios, which one did I want to shoot at the same studio like I did before, or go to another one, and then all of a sudden, obviously, shit got real with the virus, and I'm like, I dodged a bullet because I didn't put any money down. I didn't really, cross any T's or dot any I's in terms of the scheduling. But the momentum was there, but I know friends that were actually had everything locked down, and they had to. I mean, I guess the insurance maybe covers things, but even if it does, to get that momentum as an independent, low-budget filmmaker, that's not easy, because half the battle is just picking days and making sure that everything is organized. I mean, obviously raising the money but I mean, I don't know how that would work, because it's like if I was doing the luring and we had the lockdown, I don't know what we would have done. I don't know if we would have ever been able to make the film then, even if we pushed it back. So, it's a crazy time, even when this blows over, moving forward, I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like. And it's going to take at least a year or two for people to feel maybe, I don't know, not so worried about it, because every time this year, people are going to be thinking, are we going to get another one? Like, oh, it's flu season. Are we going to get another COVID-19? Like, I don't know. It's going to take a couple of years for people to not. So are people not going to shoot in the winter? Like, I don't know. It's a weird fucking thing, And so I feel you, It's something
Well, I think I know what you're getting at, but like I was telling, like, okay, so I've seen myself be on Facebook more, like you were talking about too, and stuff. But I'm mainly looking to see how many dumb people are out there or whatever. Like, what's the next stupid thing that Diarrhea Mouth said this time? You know what I mean? And then shit, I don't really remember the other thing that was going on, but once they start talking about reopening the public and stuff like that, because it's not supposed to get any worse, blah blah blah, or whatever, and then I hear like scientists, this guy or whatever says the second wave is they predict the second wave, and it's just like, well, duh. Does everybody forget about the Spanish flu or like anything before that happened like 100 years ago as well? Like, Spanish flu came in 3 different waves before it was over, and that was like what, over a 2-year thing, which killed a lot of people. But and now they're already trying to say that the second wave is starting, which is started once again in China, because what did they do? They opened the country back up, and I think it was like within that week they had to go back into lockdown again, because it was doing it all over again.
Yeah. Well, we never learn. History repeats itself, and people are maybe if the governments just took care of their people wouldn't be rioting, and they wouldn't be fighting to get outside so quickly, and they could actually quarantine, and we can suppress this virus. But unfortunately, they're giving people crumbs. These fat rich people are giving the rest of us crumbs, so we're so hungry and eager to kind of run out there. And maybe if they just weren't assholes and they just took care of us, then people would stay home. But they're not. And the rich people, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. They don't want to give us any real help, and yet they're saying, well, you got to stay home. It's like, well, I can understand people maybe rioting. I wouldn't riot, and I wouldn't protest like some of these people are doing, because they're putting themselves and others at risk. But at least I understand where they're coming from. And I think the bigger question is why is the government giving Wall Street $4.5 trillion and not helping those people to stay home? Because, obviously we go down like that political outrage again, but it's just absurd to me, what's going on. And
exactly.
I just went on a tangent. I'm not quite sure how I connected this to what you were saying, but
no, well, you're right. You're right. You're completely 100% right. And it's just, it's just what it is today. We finally get to see how the government really thinks of us, even though there is those people that will bat the eye and say, "Oh, they care about us," like we were talking about, and then like they give us the money, and it's just like, "Oh, well, thanks, but like really, like this is it, like this is all you're gonna give us," and then like you're saying, and then now there's talk about they want to do that other stimulus package, or they want to freeze the rent mortgage crap, but they're talking about like doing 2,000 a month now for 4 months, I think it was, or a year. I forget how they worded it, but anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, so what? So what is that going to do for us? Because it's 1,200 meant 4.5 trillion for Wall Street. Then what is that for? I don't know what to say. Wall Street again. But anyway, I don't want to keep going into the politics because this would be one long ass episode of discussing about how stupid this is. Anyway, nonetheless, but let's just say so, Chris. Where can people see your quarantine sunscreen right now?
And find you.
And find you.
Well, they can do it in a couple ways, I guess. They can go to YouTube and they can type in quarantine sunscreen. I'm the first video that comes up. But probably the best way to do it, easiest maybe not easiest, I don't know, is to go to my website, which is kpictures.com, like the letter K, and they can find the film under my film section. They just have to kind of search the site a little bit, and they'll find it. I have other short films. I have a section called Weird Short Films in my my shorts section, and so they could just go there. But right now, the quarantine sunscreen is the number, comes up first when someone types it in. But if they can't remember that, kpictures.com, and just by searching my site, hopefully they'll detour my site a little bit and they'll look within my site at other stuff. I think I do some other fun, entertaining films and photography and whatnot.
I'll have to take a look more of the rest of them.
Yeah, but it's we'll see what happens with this film. I'm just glad that people are enjoying it, and it's a lot of fun to make.
Yeah, and if we already asked you this sort of, I apologize, but just a queer reference again is like, so because of you being stuck in quarantine and stuff, do you have like another short idea for another type of short film to do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about maybe continuing this story arc, if there is one, with this character at least, because I have other toys that he can talk to. And so I thought, maybe, I kind of wanted to take at least like a couple days break from this, because I was really tweaking it right up into the time that I posted it, which was, yesterday. And so, I'm probably going to take just a couple days just to kind of like, whatever, because every day I was really kind of working on this, it was like basically playing a video game, editing this together and doing additional voiceovers and stuff. So it definitely kept me busy. But yeah, I'll probably do another short film. I'm very curious to know what's going to happen with the opening of the country, because I know California and New York are pretty hardcore. So if other states are going to be opening, I'm kind of thinking, well, is New York going to then open, and are we just going to wait to see what happens to those other states? Are there coronavirus victims? Are they going to riot? Like, I don't know. What's going to happen? So Cuomo seems to be pretty much on the ball with this. I don't agree with everything that he does politically, but I think he's been a good leader, through the quarantine. So I'm just curious. So if things change, if things open, that I might change my plans in terms of shooting another short film. I've got other things I want to shoot that I planned on shooting before this hit. So I'm just kind of just like everyone else. I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm just going to smoke some weed, think about it, and move forward.
Well, I wish you all the best, Chris, and it was a pleasure talking to you again. And quarantine sunscreen definitely had us laughing for a good 10 minutes. So, and I hope everybody else enjoys it too if they have not seen it already. And if they have seen it, hopefully it's been a good response. I noticed there was like one dislike on it, but probably because of the whole political aspect, if I had to guess. But you know what? Whatever.
Yeah, when you post something on YouTube, you're going to get, and that's fine. It's if you can't take people not liking your stuff, then, and I'm also posting this on Trump supporters, website, not websites, Facebook pages. So it could have been a Trump supporter. Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to go into the lion's den. It's fine. I mean, I've had plenty of people not like my stuff, and thank God the majority of them do like my stuff. So, it is what it is. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot more dislikes.
Right. Well, I don't know if you heard Tessa, but I guess she was like, "Oh, you should send him some of those other memes." Then I was like, "I'm pretty sure he's already seen them."
The bleach one. The bleach one's funny.
There's a lot of bleach ones, so you need to be more specific than that.
The one that was where?
What, the bleach one when he's doing the IV, like that one?
No, the one that I posted and people were like,
flipping
out about.
Yeah.
Do not ingest bleach. No matter what President Trump says everyone with a fucking brain.
Good one. Oh man. But all right, Chris. Well, like I said, I don't want to take any more of your time. But it was once again a pleasure. And
thank you.
I'll have the links for kpictures.com. I'll have the link for your film, of course, in the description of the episode below. And everybody, make sure to check it out. Support indie, especially in this time of need. Even if you just watch it and hit that like button, and just keep up to date with what Christopher has going on. And if you enjoyed it, write that comment. If you hated it, well, I guess write that comment too. And whatever, we all need to just relax. Maybe like Chris here has said, smoke a bong or something, and just relax, man. You gotta relax, chill.
Take a fucking chill pill.
Man.
Take a breath.
Not everything can't be serious, especially in this time of need, because if you take it too serious, then you're gonna be one of those type of people that's gonna fall victim to the herd. I'm gonna say.
Well, not just that. If we took everything fucking seriously, we'd lose our fucking minds entirely. And we have enough going on in the world that we're trying to keep our sanity and our fucking wits about us anyways.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. And on that note, people, just make sure you eat up some brownies, have that special ingredient, chill the fuck out,
make those special brownies.
Hit those special bongs that you made out of teddy bears when you were 5, and then just have a grand old time with those popsicles that you made from 1999. Anyway,
I think essentially what Paul is saying is go smoke a bowl or a bong. If you do, we don't personally, and go have a conversation with your teddy bear that you had since you were a kid,
and your army men, and who knows,
and your childhood toys.
Yes, and then let's see what type of pink dragon flamingo combination you'll find underneath
it's
your
not
feet.
LSD, for crying out loud.
Hey, you never know. Somebody might have
dragons
that.
In the kitchen?
Do you see the dragon? Anyway, before we blabber on anymore, I was Paul Dosky.
And I was Tessa Baker.
And this was the lovely guest of Christopher Wells again. Thank you once again, Chris.
Thank you.
And for everybody listening, make sure you always stay scary.